Welcome everyone to Strong and Slow Flow. Today we're going to deconstruct Revolved dancer pose and play around with variations of it in different positions. So take care of yourselves, have fun, change anything that you don't like into something that you like better, and have your yoga blocks handy. And we're going to come down to our front side with those yoga blocks kind of accessible to us. Once you get down to your front side, you can kind of arrange your arms and legs in a way that feels just real comfortable and satisfying, knowing that you can change your mind at any time through that process. Notice the connection that you have between your body and the earth. All those points of contact from the upper body all the way down to your feet. And then feel into your side body, potentially creating just a little bit more expansion there when you inhale your breath. Into the lateral ribs, into the side of the waist. As you breathe, allow the jaw to just relax any unproductive tension, finding those nasal breaths in and out, smooth and soft like a wave. Feel into your whole backside, from your calves to your hamstrings, the strength of your seat, the muscles that are along your spine column, and then also taking your awareness to the back of your shoulder. Those are the spaces we're going to target first, so just see if you can hold your attention there for a few more breaths. Letting go of your day, stepping out of your momentum. Keeping your mind on your body in this practice. Multitasking is a bit overrated, so let's try to just kind of sustain our attention to our inner landscape, the sensations when we make shapes, the movement of our foundation as we change our shape into different poses. And let's value strength and stability today over depth of pose. So definitely honoring your edge as you approach it. Bend both knees. Start to draw your heels in a little closer to your seat. And then just start to let your legs kind of pivot and rock. They can be moving together, right and left, or they could be drawing away from each other and then coming towards each other, or even crisscrossing. So lots of ways you can organize this. If the legs are rocking in the same direction, you might also notice how the pelvis can tip slightly. One side gets a little heavier as the other side might even lift off. And how does that feel in your low back, in your ribs, in your side body? And then you're going to bring your legs back to center. They could stay bent like this, or you could straighten them out. You'll have to see how it feels. Lift your head just enough to turn it to neutral. Bring your hands on top of your blocks on their high side. Adjust your neck back to neutral so your nose is just barely floating off the mat. And as your chest is down and connected to the floor and your hands are up high here on those blocks, notice what you feel around your chest and your shoulders, into that lateral, almost armpit area. You can push your arms down just gently into the block with straight elbows. Don't have to overdo that. Maybe sliding those blocks just a little further away so that you have to reach just a little bit more to keep your hands connected to the blocks. Now you're going to let just your left leg straighten out. Your right hand, let's bring it underneath the forehead. You could either make a fist there, rest your forehead on your fist, or take your forehead to your forearm would work too. Now let's hold on to the block with our left hand. And we're going to keep our chest low. Keep bending your right knee into your seat there so the heel is getting closer to the bum. Now float that left hand off the ground. Take the block with you and reach it back towards your right heel. Don't worry about touching it right now. We're just looking for the shoulder. So the chest isn't even lifted here. I'm just targeting the knee to bend it and the shoulder to extend it. If you do make a connection with your foot, that's awesome. One more breath here. Swim your block back out to the side, set it down on its tall side again, and straighten your right leg just for a second. Now rebend your right knee. This time as you close the knee maximally, you're also going to lift your your right leg off the ground, and then float that block, reach it back behind you again, this time lifting the chest away from the earth, and maybe making a connection, right heel to the block, and the hands pushing as well. The right side of the chest can still be fairly low towards the earth, and that right arm can help support you. You just have one more inhale, one more exhale here. And then release that right foot all the way to the mat. Swim your left arm back out to the front. Set your block on the tall edge. Forehead's coming back down to that right hand. Relax. Now on this one, we're going to think of tucking the tailbone slightly. Keeping that right arm out in front of us like a little kickstand. Bend your right knee again. Lift your thigh off the ground if you can, but keep your pelvis level. Swim your left arm behind you. Now, if you could easily get a hold of the foot without struggling too much, you can. You can push the ground away slightly, lift your chest a little bit more, then maybe that foot will be more accessible. A couple of options here. You could pull your heel towards your seat for more of a quad stretch, or you could try to kick higher with just that right leg and hip, and then wrap your chest open slightly to the left. Left hand, right foot. Prone revolved dancer. Take another breath here. And then you're gonna chill for just a second. Relax everything. Bring your arms to a comfy position. You can rock the legs if you liked that. This practice is gonna feel a little different today. We're doing this really focused work here, and then we're going to move into kind of a longer, not a flow, but a longer sequence where we're holding poses. And then we'll actually leave the traditional vinyasa sequence for kind of the, maybe the last 3/4 of class. Always drop me a note in the chat or unmute yourself temporarily if you have questions or if you're noticing a problem with any of the tech. Let's move on to the second side. Bring your left forearm out in front of you for a little pillow or a kickstand. Take that right side yoga block, put it on its highest side, then let your chest melt back down and bend your left knee. Keep your right leg straight down on the floor. Slight tuck of the tailbone, as if you're trying to bring your pubic bone closer to your rib cage. And then with your chest staying low, let's wrap that right arm behind us and try to make that first connection to the heel without lifting the leg. If we make that connection, great. If we don't, no problem. Just the shoulder, just the knee. Little resistance if you found that connection, pushing the heel into the block and the arms pushing back. One more round of breath. And then re-straighten your leg. Reach that block all the way around to the front. Set it on that narrower side so it's on the skyscraper length, or height rather. Just relax. Nice little stretch here through the armpit perhaps, depending on how far away that yoga block landed. Second round. First, bend your left knee again. Tuck your pelvis slightly to lengthen out your low back. And then lift your left leg just a tiny bit. Float that block up and back behind you. Lift your chest slightly and try to make the connection again. Now it's the shoulder, it's the upper back, it's the actual hip and the knee. Nice even breathing out through the sides. Since the belly is connected to the ground, it's going to be hard to expand that direction. So expand into your back, expand into your sides. Lower your chest, let your left leg find the mat, and take that block back to the front. Settle in, couple breaths just to relax. Okay, final round. We're not going to be using the block. We are going to experiment with getting that connection, but let's take it in phases. Bend your left knee, lift your left thigh, keep your tailbone tucking, float your right arm up, and then open, and then back, and then lift your chest as much as you like. The higher you get your chest, the closer your hand can get to your foot. And then once you do make that connection, if you make it, you can bring your heel closer to your seat, or you can create more of a bow-like shape, letting the chest lift, keeping those left glutes aware, and kicking your foot into your hand to stretch that right shoulder slightly. One more breath in and out. And then as you release, try to do it with control. Come back to your front side and set up your hands next to your chest. We'll take just a wee baby cobra here, just a little work for the upper back. Not too much pushing with the arms though. Keep your pelvis heavy and your tail reaching between your legs towards your mat. All the way down with a neutral spine. Tuck your toes. Press back to tabletop. From tabletop, tuck your toes under behind you, sit back towards your heels, or sit all the way up on your heels. Sweep your arms overhead as you inhale, lengthen through your sides, through the ribs. Take a side stretch. Doesn't matter which way you go first. Now, if the toes get a little cranky here, they've had enough, you can untuck them and sit on the tops of your feet instead, or use one of your blocks, or both of your blocks. Inhale through center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Come through center again. Take two arms to reach over your head, and then bring your hands to your mat. Untuck your toes, press down through the tops of your feet or give them a light tapping, and then explore some organic movement around your spine and your shoulders and your hips. A version of cat-cow that appeals to you today. You could either take it one breath per movement, which is a little bit more maybe traditional, or you could slow the movement down and just breathe in a natural rhythm. Adding in some side stretching might feel kind of good. Moving through the barrel rolls, spiral cat-cow. And then keep your hands at least shoulders width, maybe even a little wider. Walk them one hand print forward. Tuck your toes under, float your knees just a little bit to start. Start to press your hips back and then begin to press your hips up and find your first down dog of the practice. What is your body calling for here? A little stillness, a little bit of movement, some pedaling action with those ankles and heels. Take it your way. Let's all lift our heels a little higher, on the ball of the feet, and then tiptoe yourself up to the front of your mat, or even just halfway. Bring your feet about hips width or so, and let your spine dangle softly over your legs. The arms can be also real simple, natural, just hanging. You can hold your elbows, something like that. We have our yoga blocks out front here. So as we come into that halfway lift position that we do so often in Vinyasa Yoga, let's use those blocks or something about that height if you happen to not have blocks. Try to bring a tabletop feeling to your spine. And then let's see if we can just move the pelvis a little bit by tucking and untucking, feeling the pelvic bones roll over the thigh bones a little bit from the front side, and rolling the pelvis towards the thigh bones in the back. So it kind of feels like your cat-cow. Pause what feels like neutral to you. Keep your hands on your blocks. Lengthen your spine from front to back. Crown of head to the tailbone. Knees can be bent or straight. See if you can keep the weight even between the front of your foot and the back of your foot. Keep your toes nice and light. Now, we've got the blocks as our assistant here, but now we're going to start to take the weight off the blocks and put it into the spine. So the arms are just going to hover off those blocks. You can bring them to your shins if you like, or even arms behind you. Take 2 breaths here, really focusing on neutralizing those back curves and bringing your spinal muscles online. Hands to your pelvis. Initiate your standing position from your pelvis. A little bit of a tuck. Pelvis trying to roll over the back of the thighs. Stand all the way up. Whew. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, dive it down with control. Control your descent with that long backside. Inhale to a halfway lift position. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Think of that long tabletop position as you rise. And then exhale, bring your hands together in front of your chest. Reset your mountain pose. Face your palms forward, stand your ground. Inhale, sweeping and reaching. Exhale, tip your pelvis and fold over your legs. As you inhale, find your backside. Lengthen it out as you come to the half lift. Exhale, refold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale your hands together right in front of your heart. And then take a peek down at your feet. Bring them slightly closer together without touching the big toes or the heels. Maybe just inside the frame of your hips is about right for most of us. And as you find your chair pose, we're going to think of arms forward and the hips, the knees, and the toes all staying in that same direction of one another. So the knees are neither outside the frame of the hip nor inside the frame of the hip. You're going to twist open to your left here. Just let that left arm open up. And then we have a little combination here that's new. So if you want to just watch for a moment until you kind of can get the hang of it, that's great. Or you can start with me. So we're going to deepen our chair, tip the upper body so that the right hand gets closer to the block or the mat and that left arm reaches diagonally away from that right arm. And then as you stand up, you're going to keep chest facing the left and make a micro upper body back bend, holding that rotation in the upper trunk. Good. Let's keep going. Bend the knees, drop the hips back, start to teeter with that right hand lowering, left arm lifting, and then stand all the way up. Knees, toes, and hips facing forward as you arc the spine slightly from the top. 2 more times. Knees traveling same direction as the toes. Tip and twist. Rise and reach. Baby back bend. 1 more time. Untwist your spine, face towards the short edge of your mat, and just rest your arms for a moment or 2. Drop your eyes closed. Call your mind's attention to your breathing. Gorgeous. Okay, let's do that same thing with an open twist to the right. So a little knee bend, hip creases get deeper. We let the pelvis tip forward slightly. So we're creating a hip hinge. Arms can start out front. Even weight from the front of the foot to the back of the foot. Open your arm, but also rotate your chest. So both things happening at the same time. Sit deeper, tip that diagonal line through the trunk. And then as you stand up, the diagonal line goes the other direction. Wrist through the shoulder, shoulder through the wrist. Down and up. Organize the breathing in a way that makes sense for you in this moment here. Drop those hips back, drop them down, reach that right arm high, chest still wrapping to the right. We have 2 more like this. The most challenging aspect to this is when we come down into that deeper expression, the hips like to kind of come out of, I don't want to say balance, but we get heavier on one foot or one knee travels forward to the other. So just do the best that you can with that. Last one. And then stand in your mountain pose. Bring your arms to rest beside you. You can roll your shoulders up, down, and around if that feels nice. Sensing how those shoulder blades can glide around on your ribs. You might even notice some of those shoulder blade muscles are a little tired after helping with that upper body rotation and holding that arm position. All right, let's go inhale to sweep the arms high. Exhale to fold. We're going to step our left foot backwards, come to runner's lunge. Left hand is going to be on that tall block towards the front left corner of your mat. Straighten your legs a little bit more, pull your right hip crease backwards, and push that hand into the block, and then reach the block a little further away from you. So you have a really long line from the left hip through the left fingertips. Now place your left hand down. Take your right hand on the other yoga block. Do the same thing. Draw your right hip crease backwards. Push the block further away from you and stretch through that whole right side. Rebend your front knee. Lower your back knee to the ground. Left hand can be on the floor or the block. We're going to try to get a connection here now from this left heel to the block, pushing it with the right shoulder. Unravel that twist, right hand comes back down. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee, straighten both legs. Pull some space along that right side. 2 more like that. Rebend, lower the knee. Right hand circles around. Make that connection. Block to heel, push heel into block. Unravel, reach that right hand way far forward. Tuck back toes, lift the knee, straighten both legs as much as you can. Another one, rebend, lightly lower the left knee. Bend it, squeeze heel to seat. Press back and in. Bring that block back around. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and just step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Resituate your blocks so they're both on their tallest side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Inhale, stand, reach. Exhale, hands to your heart. Mountain pose, arms beside your body. Next in-breath, we can take a tall reach overhead. Exhale, slowly fold. Now we're going to step the right foot backwards. Left side runner's lunge. You're going to keep the left hand where it is right now. Stretch that right arm away from you and get a hold of that block. Straighten your left leg a little more. Rebend your leg just momentarily. Now your right hand might want to find the block on the low side. You're going to take your left hand to that other one. Try to make it a long reach so your shoulder blade is kind of upwardly rotating. As you straighten out that left leg, draw your left hip crease back more and find more stretch on that left side. Rebend your front leg, please. Lightly land the right knee to the mat. Bring your heel to your seat and try to reach back with that yoga block. Press your right heel into the block, which is in your left hand. Unravel it. Circle sweep around. Back toes tuck. Right knee lifts. We straighten out the legs and push into the block with the left hand, reaching that arm as far away from us as we can. Let's go again. Rebend. Light touch on that right knee. Rebend. Squeeze heel to seat. Swim that block around. Make a connection. Heel pushing into the block like you're imprinting that heel bone into the surface of your block. Bring it around. Set it down. Find straighter legs. Stretch through that left side all the way through your armpit. Rebend. Lower the knee. Twist the chest open left. Find that connection one more time and kick firmly. Okay, let's reset. Block's going way out front, out of your way. You can also move the right hand block. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, step forward. Halfway lift for an inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach your arms. Exhale, your hands to your heart. Mountain pose. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Half lift for length and strength. Exhale, fold. Plant your fingertips. Step your left foot back again. Low lunge to start. Then bring your knee down. Utilize your blocks in any way that you think is going to help you. Your right arm is going to try to find that foot now, either with fingertips to the heel, holding onto a pant leg, or maybe you get a hold of the foot, ankle, or shin. Keep some energy in this right leg as if you're trying to drag your heel backwards. And then relax off that left knee bend. Stretch your legs straighter. Pull your knee closer to you. So you're in this low, short lunge, right arm high. Pull from your right side. A little bit of push with that left hand. Bring your spine upright, but maintain that open split arm twist. Look over your right shoulder. Scissor your legs together isometrically. Now this is a fairly complex transition, so take your time, okay? Lean forward a little bit in your whole body so you can tuck your back toes underneath you. As you unravel the twist, you're going to turn all the way open to the left. Lift your left knee. Find a side lunge to your left towards the back of your mat. Left leg is bent. The right leg is straight, and the feet, you're organizing them in a way that feels good for your knees and your hips. We're going to be alternating side to side lunging with a new arm variation. So as your left knee is bending, you're going to pull your left arm back like you're rowing and reach your right arm away from your right hip. When you switch sides, the left arm reaches and the right arm pulls back on that bowstring. Now just find a rhythm. How can the breath serve the practice? Pull, reach, and twist through those side lunges. Now, the lower you keep your hips through this transition, the more challenging it might be. But do keep your head above your heart and your heart above your hips just slightly. Feel how that pulling shoulder can help you rotate more and reach further. Let's do one more on each side. Come through center, stand all the way up. Reach your arms nice and tall. Gather up some space and length around the sides of your ribs. Warrior two now to the front. Rotate your right hip so your toes point forward. Float your arms to shoulder height, bend your right knee. Your gaze can really be in any direction. Oftentimes, we're taking it over that front hand. Sometimes it's okay to kind of play around with different neck positions. Interlace your fingers and just lightly hold the back of your head. Press the back of your skull into your hands. Breathe. Keep your warrior two legs in foundation. Turn your chest towards your front leg, so to your right. Once you maximize that upper body rotation, the transition is going to be to lift the left heel and turn all 10 toes to the front of your mat. Ball of the back foot. Step that left foot out a little bit more to your left, and maybe shorten your stride a little bit. Is your chin overly tucked, or is your neck more neutral? Let's take away the arms, just fly them out like wings. They're going to help us balance through this transition. Your goal is to float the left knee and tap it behind the right calf as you try to pull your left heel to your tush. That right knee is traveling forward in space a little bit. Bring your left hand down to that yoga block. Turn your chest open to the right in this little tiny skater lunge. Sometimes we call this a shrimp squat too. Or I should call it a skater squat, not a lunge. Turn chest to the right. Pull that left heel to your seat. Now you're going to straighten out your right leg. Reach your right arm behind you. Can you catch your foot? Do what you need to make that happen. Or just aim for it. Don't even have to make that connection. If you do have the connection hand to foot, push that left hand into the block, lift your chest slightly forward, and then maybe you kick that left leg higher. One more breath. Now, can you keep the shape but let go of hand to foot? Bring your right hand back to your block. Keep your chest lifted for now. Bend your right knee, send your weight back to your heel. We're going to slowly descend this left leg so that the knee points to the left, the top of the foot lands, and that shin bone's not parallel, it's diagonal on the mat. So your next task is just to scoot your hips way back, sit behind your left heel. You can let go of those blocks. This right leg's going to come up and over the left. Sitting up tall in your spine. Do your best. If this is already a lot with the hips and the spine, just keep your chest facing the front. If you want a little upper body rotation, you're going to keep your left hand to your right leg. Lengthen through your whole right side by raising your arm. And then turn just a little bit more to your right. That right hand can stay floating, or you can push it into the floor to help give your spine some extra length. Let's go one more breath here. Unravel your twist. Your arms are going to help you in any way that you think they can here, so it's just responsive. Don't worry about alignment. Try to float that right leg up. Right leg's going to come around to your right towards the long side of your mat, and then you're going to try to reach it slightly behind you until you can set the inside edge of your right leg to your mat. Turn your chest towards that right long edge of your mat. Take your hands anywhere they want to land. Lengthen upwards as you rotate your chest towards that back leg. Gaze falling over the right shoulder. Take another breath. And then turn towards the front again. You're going to get your hands set up like you would for a plank. So lean over your front leg. Once you can push some of the weight in your hands, you're going to lift up the hips and bring your right knee back to the ground. It feels like a really short pigeon pose with not as much rotation in this left hip. So you could even bring your knee a little bit closer to the center of your mat. Now let's shorten up this pigeon-like shape. Bring your right thigh to the back of your left ankle or maybe your heel. Many of you have done this with me before. We're going to use the blocks here. Now you're either going to maintain connection to the block with your hands. Keep that left ankle kind of crossed in front of that right leg. Then you can take away the left hand and open up to that left side twist, or you can float the spine vertically, take your arms to a T, try to tuck your pelvis under to lengthen out your low back, and then wrap the ribs open to the left. Think of squeezing your legs together a little bit more. Connect to the power of your right glutes. If they're not already squeezing, manually give them a good squeeze. Let's take one more breath here. And then unravel the twist. Set your blocks off to the side. Bring your hands to your mat. Tuck your back toes under. maybe shorten your step just a little bit. Bring that right knee a little bit closer to that left ankle. And then when you start to straighten out that right leg, you're going to try to keep that figure 4 shape, left ankle over the right thigh above your knee, spinning that left hip open, external rotation. Now take your left leg up and back for a downward dog splits. Step that left leg all the way through. So you're in a low lunge, left leg leading the way. Blocks are on the high side. You're going to walk them out in front of you. Kick your right leg back, kind of like Warrior 3. And then just step your right foot up to meet your left. Inhale, rise to standing with a long and strong spine. Arms overhead. Exhale, your hands to your heart. Sweep your arms, reach your sides. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift for your in-breath. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back to a low lunge. Make sure that your feet are not in the same line. So you've got left foot on like in the line of the left hip, the right foot in line with the right hip. Open up your chest to the left, take the right arm away. Reground your left hand, bring that right knee down, and then bring your right heel to your seat. Without the block, you're going to take that left arm up and around, maybe catch the right foot with that left hand. If you feel like you can't quite get it, you could use your block underneath your right hand to find that connection. And we shouldn't be on the kneecap here. We should be actually on the thigh bone, just above the kneecap. So sometimes that means you got to slide that right knee back just a little bit more. Let's take one more breath here. As you let go of the foot, try not to slingshot out of this. Slowly control. Right shin finds the mat. We're going to keep a twist here and come up to a half kneeling version of it. Left leg forward, right knee under the hip. Turn your ribs towards your left and be expansive through that whole upper body as we find that core rotation. Option 1, keep this shape. Tuck your back toes. As you lift, you're going to turn to the right and find that side lunge, or you can untwist first and reorganize that. So you're in that side lunge. The right knee is bending. Pull your right arm behind you as if you're rowing. Reach your left arm diagonally to the right. And then switch. Bend your left knee. Pull back with the left, reach with the right. Keep going. Find a rhythm. Self-organizing breathing in a way that makes sense with the flow. The foundation might shift from time to time. Let's go one more each way. And then 2 straight legs right through the center, star pose. Take your arms overhead into a wide V. And then you're going to go warrior 2. Rotate your left hip externally. Bend into your left knee, straighten your right leg. Pause here. Noticing how shifting the gaze into a different direction might change the experience around your neck and shoulders. Keep the warrior legs. Take your hands behind your head. Just a light touch there. Rather than pulling the head forward with those arms, let's gently draw the head back into the hands. Keep that warrior lower body. Turn your chest towards the front. Any amount. It's probably not going to go all the way to the front. Notice how the shoulders are kind of trying to help pull you into that rotation. As you lift your right heel, you're going to come to the ball of that right foot and then shorten your stance from front to back and widen it from left to right so that each leg has its own lane again. Take your arms out to a T. Keep that body leaning forward on a diagonal. Now the transition here is to think of dragging your left heel backwards as you keep a bend in that left knee. Take away the right leg and try to tap the right knee behind the left calf. Heel nice and close to your seat. Block under your right hand so that you can twist open more to the left with your upper body. And you're going to keep that hand connected to the block. Keep pulling that right heel higher. Reach back around behind you with your left hand. Can you get a hold of the foot? If so, great. If not, make the shape without the bind. Chest rolls forward and lifts like Cobra. The right leg kicks just a little higher. Trying to keep the weight in that left foot kind of even so it's not too toe heavy and not too heel heavy. As you release the grip of the foot, take your left hand back to your block. Square your chest off. Neutralize your pelvis. Shift your weight a little bit more to the left heel. Start to bend your left knee forward in space as that right knee now comes down, turning that hip open so that your right toes are more towards the left edge of your mat and your right knee's more towards the right edge of your mat. Pause here, get your bearings, and then we're going to let the blocks go. Push the seat way back behind that right heel. And once you find your bum, I'm going to try to bring that right leg up and across. Sit up tall. You can move that right heel away from your seat a little bit too if that's too congested. Again, if this is already quite a lot for the lower body, just stay out of the twist, face forward. If you want the twist, left arm goes high. Settle down through your left hip and twist your chest open to the left. Keep that left leg kind of pressing into your hand. Sometimes we let the arm pull the leg closer to us. Do just the opposite. Try to press your left knee into your hand outwardly. Unravel that twist, face forward. Float your left leg. You can lean your body to the right to help with that. You're going to sweep that left leg all the way back so that you're facing towards the long edge on the inside edge of that left knee. You can rearrange the feet, sit up tall, turn a little bit towards the left now with that upper trunk. Your gaze can take you even further over your left shoulder if you like. Call your mind to your breath. Unrotate that twist. Bring your hands out in front of you as if you were going to go to a plank or a downward dog. Once you can get some of your weight in those hands, you're going to lift the hips and straighten out the back leg to neutral. It's still going to be bent, but now the pelvis is rotating towards the floor. Shorten your stride. Bring your left knee closer to that right foot, ankle, whatever you've got. Minimize the rotation of the right hip. So it's not like pigeon, it's a little less than pigeon. Hands to blocks, good place to start. Try to find a little space between your upper body and the floor. And then you can open up your chest towards the right side in a twist. Or you can really get firm about your foundation in the hips, trying to pull the legs together, and then come up with the spine as you twist open to your right. We're breathing. Unrotate your spine. Bring your hands back to your blocks just as kind of a midway point. Bring them off to your side. Get your hands ready for your down dog. You're going to keep that ankle crossed, but now maybe find that more external rotation of the right hip as you tuck the left toes, lift your left knee, figure 4 down dog. Release the figure 4 and send your right heel up in the air. Really stretch open through the front of the hip. Lift your left heel higher, look forward. Bend your knee. Try to kiss your knee as you round out your back. Step your right foot all the way through. Low runner's lunge. Walk the blocks way out in front again. Highest side. Standing L. Kick your left leg back like warrior 3. Pull your heart through your arms. Try to neutralize your backside. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Inhale to rise. Reach your arms. Exhale, hands to heart. Reset your mountain pose. Take another breath in. Grow a little taller through your sides as the arms go overhead. Let the pelvis tip you into the fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms, step back to a high plank position. Bring your knees down. Tabletop. Right arm forward. Left leg goes back. Bend your knee. Lift your hip a little higher. Keep your chest up. Take the right arm back. Maybe you catch the foot. Find a little kick in your sunbird. As you release the foot, keep that leg floating. Reach your right arm back to the mat and reset. Let's go cat pose for a moment. Really round out the spine. Contract through the front abdominals in order to shorten that side of the spine and bring length to the back. And then neutralize to tabletop again. Left arm reaches forward and diagonal. Right leg goes back. Bend your knee. Heel nice and tight to your seat. Swim your left arm around. Turn your chest open. Lift your chest. If you can catch the foot, great. Turn the sternum more forward. Use that right shoulder for stability and then kick your foot into your hand. Release the grip. Keep that leg floating. Left arm, it comes back towards plank. Tabletop to cat pose, last time in cat. Tuck your toes, stretch your hips up and back. Downward face dog. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. Take your hands onto your blocks. Make sure that the wrists are about under the shoulders for a good stack. That'll just give your blocks a little more stability. Kick your left leg to the warrior three. You're standing on your right leg. Test out shifting the weight forward and back in that right foot. Bend your left knee. Lift your heart. Take your right hand and reach it back towards the left foot. Option one, you're going to hold the same position we did earlier, or you're going to lighten the load in your left hand. Bend your right knee a little bit and maybe stand up for revolved dancer. The heel can stay close to the seat and we can make it more like a quad stretch, or you can kick that left leg into the hand, create a little hip hinge on the right side, and then pull the heart forward. Contract your backside for 3, 2. Release the foot with control, 2 feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, fold, and find your blocks with your hands. Find that nice strong line through your backside. Neutral-ish curves in the back. As you send your right leg back, stand firmly into your left base, and then do a little weight shift towards the ball of your foot, towards your heel. Can you find where it feels really even and sustainable? Bend your right knee. Heel to seat. Lift your heart like you're doing Cobra. Reach back with your left hand. Maybe that left knee needs to bend to help you find it. Now can you kick and extend the spine? Keep some good tension between the foot and the hand. Stay here, or bend your left knee. Shift your weight a little bit further back so that maybe you can find that standing revolved dancer. Either upright, knees kind of stay flush, or you can hinge and kick and create a bow-like shape with the spine for 3, 2. Slowly release that foot. Bring it back to its partner. Inhale, arms sweep overhead, lengthen through your sides. Exhale, fold. So once you get to your fold, let's walk the feet out a little wider. Toes in or toes out, doesn't matter. Just see what feels better in your hip, and then let your spine hang over your legs, just cascading through the spine, nice and easy. Soft swaying motions might feel okay. Nodding the head. Connect to your breathing. And then let's get those yoga blocks. We're going to create a little bench to sit on here and find a squat just for a moment. Bring your spine up, sit up tall. Arms can just lay on the legs. And then sit up even taller. Take your right hand across towards your left knee and start to spin open with the left arm and chest. Push your left leg outward into your hand and kind of straighten out that right arm as much as you can. Gaze can go over that left shoulder. We're working the hips into abduction, which means we're trying to almost pull them apart even more against the resistance of this right hand. Come back to center. Just relax your hands on your legs. Shoulders are soft. Spine is long. Breath is smooth. Filling up and emptying out. Try to sustain this general shape of the legs wherever you've found them to be comfortable here. Sit up taller. Left hand towards the right leg or knee, whatever you can manage to connect to. As you sweep the right arm open and back, we also allow the chest to revolve. Upper thoracic spine twist. Try to pull your right hip open more into the resistance of that left hand. And also see if you can keep that left hip opening without rolling on the outside edge of your foot. So you're really firm in that foot tripod, generating some stability below the waist to contribute to a little more mobility up above the waist for 3. Expansive breath. Last 2. And 1. Unravel. Come back through center. Shift your weight forward enough so that you can just slide those blocks out of your way and sit down onto your tush. And then we're going to create kind of a butterfly shape with the legs, but a really loose one. Soles of the feet can meet. Legs open out. Place one of your blocks on its low edge, kind of right on the inside edge of your arch there. And then your second block is going to go so that it's higher. We're going to let the upper back round and place your forehead on that second block. If you don't have blocks, you can just make do with building a kickstand with your arms and fists. Notice how your breathing can kind of calm the mind, but also contribute to or enhance sensations in the pose. There's many ways you could approach that. So do a little breath exploration here. Right side of the spine, right low back, right ribs, right side of the spine, and then crossing over to the left side of the spine, left low back region, left side of the waist, left side of the ribs, left side of the spine, and then the whole back body breathing. The whole side body's breathing. Breathing out and breathing in. Wrap your hands around that top block, lift your head away from it, slowly rise the spine until it is in a mostly upright and neutral position. And then you're going to get to your back. Any transition that makes sense for now. I'm going to give you a little bit of time here once you get to your backside to create your own little finishing pose sequence. It could be some sort of a dynamic movement for the body. It might be more of a static stretch, passive stretch, or resistance stretch. Okay, all that's left is to decide how you want to be for this final phase of our practice. Traditionally, that could look like Shavasana, but if that's not appealing to you today, please make it work. Side lying, front lying, sitting, even kneeling would work. Get comfortable and content. And then see if you can choose stillness for a bit. Let the mind wander, let the breath flow naturally. Effortless. Just be. Let's stay just as we are for a few more moments of solitude, inward experiencing, sensing and feeling. Notice the energy of your breath. And if you're inclined to make some changes there, as a way just to kind of connect to that reawakening process, feel free to explore that. And then you can trust that your body will know what comes next for you. Some soft and organic movements without too much pre-planning. Getting your body back to a more aware, awake state, while still hopefully preserving some of the peace and the ease that you cultivated in your practice this morning. You can lay down for a little while yet. You could lay on your side for a bit. If intention setting is something that you enjoy doing, now is a nice time for that with this fresh perspective and maybe a slightly cleaner slate than what you had prior. Remembering that this feeling is accessible. Sometimes it takes a little more work, but it doesn't always have to be guided. It doesn't have to be this full hour of class. It might just be a few moments of noticing things, connecting to your breathing, following your mind without trying to direct it too much. I'd like to thank you all who showed up today in the live Zoom, and I can be available here for a few minutes after class if you want to say hello. But if you have plans, I understand. I hope to see you next time. For those of you that are watching the playback, always open to feedback as well then. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I hope you have just the best day ever. Take care of yourselves.